Hi, I'm Joe Waynes, Productivity Energizer at TurtleWorks, and today I want to talk about triggers. I also want to remind you about the previous video I did on tracking and sample solutions related to tracking. Today's video will be about sample solutions related to triggers. So you might be asking, like, what is a trigger? Well, when the phone rings, you answer it. When the purchase request is approved, it gets ordered, and when the order status is set to shipped, the client automatically receives a text message and email. Those are all examples of triggers and what happens. The third instance is really what I want to talk about today. Communicating with clients or communicating in general using triggers to free up time and energy by doing that communication automatically. So we make something happen based on something else happening. Um, Again, I've got 6 examples of solutions that can be built using Power Automate, which is a tool inside of your Microsoft 365 subscription. And we've done a couple of these, or we've explored a couple of these with clients. Let's get to it. Um, this is an actual conversation I had after the first time we did a trigger solution for a pharmaceutical packaging company. I called up Ann after we were all done, like, hey, Ann, how's the customer phone calls going? And her answer was, what phone calls? We don't get them anymore. So we had built a solution with a SharePoint list and some Power Automate flows to tell a customer they got their order, the order started, production, quality, whatever. And the phone stopped ringing, literally, related to questions about what's the status of my order. So real world example. Let me see. Uh, let me stop and talk about some of the key points or advantages of triggers. So improved communication, which I mentioned. A leaner process. So it's leaner because you're not having to send those emails or make those phone calls in many cases because the system's doing it based on events that are happening. And you want that communication to occur, but you don't want to have to spend the time and energy doing it. So it reduces phone calls and emails, which of course is Ann's story. Client satisfaction is improved. For sure, if I did not know what was going on with my Amazon order and it was 3 weeks out and I still hadn't received anything, I would be upset. But if I was getting text messages or emails from Amazon saying there's been a delay in your shipment, blah, 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 it's like, okay, I know what's going on. I'm still not super happy that it's delayed, but I can accept that. And I'm glad you told me what's going on. And it frees up time. So, what do we call that? Opportunity cost is what we call that, right? So if you have time available, you can actually work on finding other ways to make more money or be more efficient in your business, find ways to better satisfy customers, etc. Because you have the time available to do that. If you're busy doing busy work, you don't have that time. All right, so here's an example, automated maintenance requests. The idea is something happens which triggers a notification or an entry into the maintenance system. So whether it's an equipment error, that gets logged and you're monitoring that log, or the, IoT or something's monitoring that log. And then, the notification occurs, whether it's letting somebody in the maintenance team know, or it's submitting a request automatically to the maintenance system. Um, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Again, Power Automate can do that for you. Inventory replenishment, pretty basic. Somewhere you've got a list of what's in inventory and you've got a list of thresholds. And as what you have in inventory hits that threshold, somebody needs to be notified that they need to order something. So you, of course, can do that using a trigger. Production line downtime reporting. So multiple opportunities here. One is, how do you track production downtime? So you can harness all kinds of IoT sensors, or look for entries in a log in the system or whatever. But those are all ways to identify that there's been a production line downtime event. And then, of course, you can report it. The beauty of the reporting over time is you can see trends. So you can see that the line number 7 seems to go down a whole lot more than all of the other lines. Or station number 5 on line 6 seems to be having issues. Or, the operator in this particular cell seems to not be working, because he's got, some health issue or something. You're able to see all of those things by looking at trends over time, but you can capture those events and store them somewhere using triggers. Here's this is a Power BI mock-up that we created as we were going through the sales cycle for this opportunity. Issue reporting and resolution center. It's a real solution that we built. 40% reduction in customer service phone calls and emails. It's built on SharePoint list, Power Apps, Power Automate. We didn't do the Teams bot or channel piece, although I'll talk about it. And in this case, they repair their product. So the customer has an issue with the product. They make a phone call. This SharePoint form, Power Automate form, gets completed by the customer service rep. They save that form. An email is triggered to the customer with instructions and barcodes. Customer sends it in, and every step along the way of the repair, there's a status change in SharePoint, which triggers notification to the customer of what's going on. So, real system, real results, just by using SharePoint, Power Automate, Power Apps. We could introduce a Teams bot or a Teams channel to help with this, so the customer can request info about their issue. So we didn't do that, but it certainly is possible. Let me pause here. And if you have like 3 customers that are 80% of your business, you can take that a long way. You can take the collaboration experience a long way by opening up Teams to that particular customer, giving them access to, files and, post messages. And, in our case, we'll share a task list with the customer so we can track software changes and communicate back and forth without having to do this whole email chase thing. It's just, we have a Kanban board that these are all the tasks that haven't been started. These are the tasks in development. These are the tasks the customer needs to test. These are the completed tasks. Customer tests those tasks. If there's a problem, they put a comment in, put it back in development. If it's good, it's moved to completed. Like, really simple, saves a lot of time and money, makes it simple for everybody involved. So self-service features, customers can view status of their issue, add comments or attachments, and receive the automated updates via Teams, text, or email. Real statistic, I don't remember if this came from a Forbes article or where, but it's on my website. You can find a link that'll back this statistic up. But more than 85% of customers want to experience proactive communication and contact from a business. I'm surprised it's not 100%. Like, what customer doesn't want to have proactive communication? Just don't send me your marketing stuff. Let's see, real-time KPI dashboards. So dashboards in general is something that businesses have. They're either looking at them daily, all the time, or weekly, just depends on, the specifics. So from a manufacturing perspective, these are some, this is just a mock-up that actually I had Copilot generate for me around this topic. But these are definitely some metrics that manufacturers are looking at regularly. Their OE trend, scrap rate, right? Scrap will eat your lunch if you don't keep it under control. Your downtime trend, meaning how often are your machines down, and on-time delivery. So there's a cost. If you've got to use premium freight to ship your stuff because you're late, that's a cost going right into your profit, right? So all of those are important metrics. Again, you can use Power Automate to capture data based on events. And that event may be as simple as a schedule, right? Every 15 minutes, go do something. go get information and store it somewhere. So, uh, depending on where it needs to go. In the end, you can usually do your dashboards with Power BI. Works well. Final one, supplier invoice processing. There's this thing called robotic process automation, RPA, and Microsoft has it built within Power Automate. So, matter of fact, I think with Windows 11, they started shipping Power Automate like desktop version, so you could do some of this on your own as well. But the idea is that you have invoices from a client or PDFs that you get regularly, paper or digital forms you get regularly that you have to process and put into one of your core systems like ERP or accounting. So you train the system to know where the customer's name, the address, the items on that particular order are, what the total is, what the terms are. And so, over time, the customer sends you invoices. This month it's 2 pages, last month it was 5 pages, but the system's intelligent enough to not be affected by there's 5 pages versus 3 pages. It is able to figure out where the pieces of information that it needs are and put it in your system. So it could be as simple as writing straight to database tables, but the system literally has the tools to allow the system to event occurs, double click on the shortcut on the desktop, and the system then automatically logs in to whatever app it is, automatically navigates the menu to display the data entry form, fills in all the data entry, hits save, closes the app out, and you don't have to do a thing. You can watch it. It's actually not creepy to watch, but at some point you stop watching it. You just put it on a server somewhere and let it do its thing. And you are no longer doing manual data entry at that point. So number 6, so there's 6 examples of how you use triggers within your business to streamline productivity. Somewhere in this video feed, there will be a link for a free software success review. It's 2 hours of my time to help you go through the software you have and see if there's ways to leverage Microsoft 365 tools to eliminate maybe like a Calendly license or something else, or get more into, hey, you're using Excel to run your $60 million business. There might be something better you can do. And then the solution sample list. So these are 6 examples. I have a complete list with examples for tracking triggers and self-service. So you can get that list as well. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.